Captions. We're going to dive right into a reading lesson today, and we are talking about nonfiction texts. Now remember, nonfiction texts are texts that are full of true information, and they give facts, and we know that nonfiction stories are true. So we're going to specifically take a look at text features today, and so I have a nonfiction book here called Amazing Animals, and it's packed full of all kinds of text features that you could see in other nonfiction stories. And text features are great because we can use them for information. So if I open up my book, immediately I have my very first text feature. This is called the Table of Contents, and it says Contents right here. And what it does is it lists all of the topics that are covered in this nonfiction text, and it has the index here at the end. And then it has all these dots that lead you to the page number. So, for example, here's how you use this. If I wanted to read more about the feet of a kangaroo, I would go to page 6. And if I turn to page 6, I see there's my topic, the feet of a kangaroo. And then all of this is full of information about the feet of a kangaroo. So here we have an introduction, the tongue of a frog, the feet of a kangaroo, the eyes of a hawk, the wings of an albatross, the trunk of an elephant, the arms of an octopus, and then the index. So this is our table of contents where we can come back and find where to find information in our book. Now on this page, this is the introduction. I know that because there's a heading at the top of my page. Now a heading is another text feature. Often the heading is going to be either larger, maybe in a different font, a different color. So here the word is just a little bit bigger, and it's got a colored box around it to kind of separate it from the rest of the text. So you know that this is your heading. And this is the introduction, so it tells you, just kind of introduces the information in the book. And another text feature that nonfiction books have oftentimes are photographs. So they're not illustrations, they're not drawings, they're real pictures, they're photographs of what this book is about. So this book is about animals, so it has many photographs about animals. Now we have a new heading, the tongue of a frog. Now if you'll notice, this one, this page does have illustrations. Nonfiction books are also going to have illustrations sometimes, so that's another text feature. There are questions involved, so there might be little bullet points that kind of separate the information further. Here we have a diagram. A diagram can be many things. In this case, the diagram has a measuring tool down here to kind of let you know how long the frog's tongue is in comparison to its body. And it says down here, a frog's tongue is half as long as its body. This is another text feature. You'll notice there are lots of those. They're not always in colored boxes, but they do go with illustrations and with photographs. And these are called captions. Captions explain what's happening in the picture. So this caption says, a frog unrolls its tongue when it sees an insect move. And so it has this illustration, and it's captioning this picture to tell you what's going on. And then the tip of the tongue has a sticky pad on it. The insect sticks to the tongue pad. So here's the second illustration that talks about how the tongue gets the bug. So these are captions. Another thing that you'll notice in this illustration is a word that's pointing to something in the picture. That's because it's labeling the picture. Now you used labels in your writing before. So nonfiction, another text feature, is labels. There are labels of pictures. So this says tongue, and it points to the tongue. And then down here we have another label, sticky pad, and it points to the part of the tongue that has the sticky pad. Now things like captions and labels and diagrams give us all kinds of information in a nonfiction text that we can use to help us better understand. So here's another heading, the feet of a kangaroo. Two photos here. There's an illustration, another bullet point to kind of separate the information and ask a question and then gives you an answer. Here's another caption. This caption is talking about this photo. Captions for photos are right next to them. Here is another illustrations, kind of like a diagram, but see all the labels that it has. So the labels explain what's happening in the picture, and the captions do that as well. I'm just kind of showing you that each page kind of has the same amount of features. We have the heading, we might have bullet points, we have photos, some illustrations, captions, labels, like right here, labels. There's another label. These are all things that you can use in a nonfiction text to help you understand the text and to get information. And the last feature we're going to talk about is the index. Oftentimes in a nonfiction text you'll have an index, and the index just has certain words that were discussed in the book, and it doesn't tell you what they mean, but it tells you where you can find those words. So for example, seeing. If I wanted to find that word seeing and read more about that, I'm going to look on page 9. If I flip back to page 9, this page is going to talk about seeing. This says, why does a hawk have good eyesight? And it explains why a hawk has good eyesight here. And so this page has information about that word seeing, which is what I wanted to read more about. Now sometimes instead of an index, a nonfiction text will have a glossary. And a glossary is going to list a word and give the definition and the page where to find it. But an index just gives you certain topics, certain words that were discussed. So you can use those text features in a nonfiction story to help you better understand the story.